Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking all about macros, how to count them, why they're good for you, why do you need fats, why do you need carbs, literally how to count them, like the actual steps, because I remember before I counted them I was like absolutely daunted at the fact that I would have to count all the macronutrients and like the grams of stuff and like how much stuff weighed, and I have to weigh my food, and it all seemed like so daunting, and I genuinely didn't think I would ever get the hang of it. And I think for the first like 2-3 weeks I found it like a really difficult and like it was just something hard to get used to, because I was never used to weighing my food. I would never really read the like nutritional information on the back of packages, so it was like a brand new thing to me, and I think for a lot of people it can like kind of confuse them and like put them off the idea, especially of weightlifting, because macros do complement weightlifting really well. That's why in my curve guide there's a nutritional guide inside it which is all about counting macros and how to count your macros according to your desired goal, alongside the strength training actual routine. So I'm going to answer some questions which I've jotted down in my reporter's notebook, which I thought could be useful. So, okay, the first question, what are macros? So macros are basically the macronutrients in every food that you eat. So it's fats, carbs and proteins. How do you know how many macros are in a certain food or a product? Well, what I'll do is, let's say I go to the store and I buy peanut butter. Wait, let me get a jar of peanut butter. Meridian smooth almond butter, which is like my absolute favourite thing in the whole world. So if I want to know what the macros are in this jar, you go to the back and it will say nutritional information. What you have to do, like just bearing in mind, is a lot of the time, especially if you buy things in like jars or like packets of things, it will say per something. So this says nutritional information per 100 grams. So if you look on the back of the jar, don't think that, oh, the thing only has 650 calories in this whole thing, okay, cool. No, what you've got to do is find out how much the whole jar is. So here you can see it says 170 grams, and then you would go to the 100 grams, so you'd have to times that by 0.7. I think that's right. I was never good at maths. But like, you see what I mean? So if you buy the jar and if it said 50 grams, and if it was a 100 gram jar, then you times all the nutritional information by 2, because that's how much of those macros are in the product. How do I count them? Like, what are the actual steps to counting them? Because when I first started doing it, I like never weighed any of my food before, and I never looked at nutritional information, so I was like, I have no clue how to do this. So what I recommend is downloading the app MyFitnessPal, which looks like, can you see to the top right there? That's the little app. You want to download that. The reason why I recommend MyFitnessPal is because there are loads of other apps, but like, I've always used it. I've never used any other, to be fair, but like I've never had a reason to. Like, I've always used MyFitnessPal. It's always been really reliable. The information's always really good on it. They've got like daily articles which you can read. I don't read them, but if you're bored at night, you might want to read something. So this is what it will look like when you get it. There it has like your daily kind of like calories bit, and then here's just like some articles which you might want to read. Then on the panel, on like the bottom panel, to the right hand side, there's an icon with like 3 dots saying more. Click that, and then what you want to do is go to the 3rd row down and go to goals. Now once you go to goals, you'll see there's like a whole kind of like bit at the top which is like your starting weight, current weight, goal weight. Ignore that unless you want MyFitnessPal to actually calculate the amount of weight you need to lose per week. I don't use it because like, I don't measure my goals with how much weight I've gained and how much weight I've lost. It can just be really misleading. So I would always judge like my own personal progress with how I look, like literally just in the mirror, and how I feel. So if I feel really good and I'm like looking good, whatever, then that's great for me. You're not a number. Your macros will make up your calories. In my curve guide, in the nutritional bit, there is a section where you can calculate your calories, fats, proteins and carbs according to your actual goal, whether that's to lose weight, to gain muscle, to maintain, whatever your goal is. So what you want to do with the calories that have been calculated from the curve guide, hit calories here, type in the calories, so let's say it's 2000, type in 2000, click tick. What will happen is, in MyFitnessPal, you can adjust where you're getting your calories from, because if your calories are coming from your macros, then you can choose how many of them you want to come from carbs, how many protein, whatever. Once this little box pops up here, you'll see it has the percentages down at the bottom. I would kind of not ignore those, but pay attention more to the actual grams underneath each macronutrient. So underneath carbs, for example, you've got 150 grams of carbs there. Let's say you want to be eating 160 grams. What you want to do is adjust it till you get to 160. However, this is the one problem with MyFitnessPal. It's not actually too much of an issue, it's just slightly annoying. On MyFitnessPal, they sometimes won't let you, they'll only let you like calculate the actual percentages of macros rather than the grams. If you can follow the grams, do, just because it's a lot more accurate than following percentages. So just kind of like, if you can see here, for 30% it comes up at 150 grams up here. So obviously you want 160, so increase the percentage to 35%. However, rather than going to 160, it takes you 175 grams, which is quite annoying because you won't be able to ever actually get to the 160 on the app. Don't worry about it, it's actually not too much of an issue. What I recommend doing, head to the one which is closest to it, so let's say 30% is 150 grams, and then every day once you go into the food diary, which I'll show you, just go over that by 10 grams. It's alright, you can do that. It will say you've gone over and the number will go red, but just ignore that. As long as you know you're hitting your macros, it doesn't matter too much that this is like, no, it's not right, ah. Once you've done that, click tick. It will have 100% here. If you've done it all right, cool, tick. Then what you want to do is go back again, and on the bottom panel, hit the second icon along, which is diary. Click that. Now this is split into breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, exercise. Ignore the exercise bit. I always ignore the exercise bit. This is how you'll be breaking up your day. If you're first counting macros, MyFitnessPal is great because it helps you calculate, it helps you plan all your food, and you can do it in advance as well. So as you can see here, it's just got today. But let's say you want to plan tomorrow. It says tomorrow. The next day, Saturday, July 2nd, or the day after that, July 3rd, July 4th. Happy Independence Day, America. And then, okay, so go back to today. Sorry, I'm sitting on my ankles. This is super painful. Oh, there we go. I'm just gonna like half squat. There we go. When I first started counting macros, it was so useful, MyFitnessPal, because like I needed to plan everything because I had never calculated anything, so I didn't intuitively know how many grams, for example, of carbs would be in a banana. Like I just didn't know that. I didn't know how much I would need every day or anything. So counting macros is so useful, especially for the first two weeks to a month that you do it, because it's like such a learning process. You'll just be like learning how much is in everything, and it kind of sets you up for life because then you actually are educated about what the fuck is in food, which is something we should all know. It's just good to know, you know. I'm going to take you step by step on actually how to do this. So you've got the app. Let's say you wake up in the morning and you really want some almond butter, smooth almond butter, maybe to go with your oatmeal. Let's say you're having that. So this comes in a packet, which is useful. Whoop-a! Did you drop my phone there? That wouldn't be cool. Breakfast, you click the bottom add button there. Then you can see there's like an orange button in the middle saying food. You want to click that, and you want to click breakfast because you're having it for breakfast. Then you can either search for the food, literally there just type in Meridian Smooth Almond Butter, whatever it says on the packet, or if it's in a packet, you can just click the right barcode button there, and it will come up with like a scanner, super cool, and then you want to scan, how the hell am I doing this? There we go. Scan the actual product. Now, what will come up is the nutritional information which someone in the world out there has written. This isn't done by professionals, so you want to make sure the nutritional information is correct, because sometimes it isn't. The nutritional information on the back of this says per 100 grams. This is per 10 grams. So if you want to check if it's right, times all of this by 10 and see if that comes up to the nutritional information here. If that's right, then you're good to go. You can add it in. So this person nicely has put 10 grams / 1 teaspoon. They don't usually do that, they usually just come up with the grams. If so, you'll need a weighing scale, which is part of the macro kit. Get yourself a digital weighing scale. It's way more accurate than like non-digital ones. And I would just ignore the stuff here, which is like potassium, cholesterol, all that kind of thing. You don't really need that. And then click tick, which is at the top right corner, and add it in. There you go, your Meridian almond butter has been added to your day. Woohoo! Now, what you want to do, scroll to the bottom of the page, and on the left hand side there's a little tab saying nutrition. It's right next to notes. Click that, and the amount of macros that you've eaten and the calories will have they'll be shown on this little table. So if you head to fat, because peanut butter or almond butter is mostly fat, you can see here that you've eaten 11 grams of fat for breakfast. So out of your 78 grams of fat you can have every day, you've got 67 grams left because you've had 11 for breakfast. This is the whole point of if it fits your macros, flexible dieting, that kind of thing, because even though I don't really condone the go on, you can eat shit, doesn't matter what you eat, just add it in as long as it meets your macros kind of thing. I used to do it a bit more, and now I don't, just because it made me feel a bit gross and tired all the time, eating not so healthy. But you can essentially do that. If you really, really want to have a Kit Kat one day, then you can just have a Kit Kat and just add it into your macros. You can essentially eat what you want just because you can add it into your macros, and if it fits in your macronutrients, then you're fine. You can't, for example, have if you have a Krispy Kreme donut, let me show you. Add food, breakfast, Krispy Kreme, glazed Krispy Kreme. Oh, it only has 200 calories? That can't be right. Okay, so you can have a Krispy Kreme donut, basically. Let me just scroll to sugars. Yeah, okay, so yes, okay, you can have food that you want, as this is just shown. So if you want to have a Krispy Kreme donut, just read the things. It's fairly high carb, it's quite high in fat. The thing with this is very high in sugar, so it's 10 grams of sugar. So if you add it in, that's fine, but then if you scroll to the bottom, click left, you'll see your sugar's gone up a bit as well. That's totally cool, but just make sure you don't go over the sugar if you can. The reason why it's actually better to eat healthily whilst you're doing macros is because I would recommend somebody to eat macros if they're doing weight training or exercising, and it will make your workouts a lot better if you are getting your foods from better quality, fresher, more organic, more yummy foods. So you can there are two types of carbohydrates. There's complex carbohydrates and then there's simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are essentially better for you. They're things from brown rice, oatmeal, that kind of thing. They're better for you because they release your energy over a longer amount of period throughout the day, which is better. You'll just feel a bit better. They're more nutritional for you in comparison to simple carbohydrates, which are things like white bread, white pasta, sweets, basically sugar, because that's instant energy. So even though you'll get a rush of energy then, you might have a crash later on in the day, and it's better to kind of fuel your workouts with things which are more long lasting, and things which won't fluctuate your hyper levels too much. What are my macros? Oh yeah, I get asked all the time what are my specific macros. The reason why I always avoid it, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, I tend to not reply to them, or I'll be listen, I don't really want to share it. It's just because my macros are going to be completely different to Johnny's macros down the street, or you know what I mean, because your macros are calculated on your height and your weight, and your goal. So for example, my goal is to gain, just because I've quite a small frame, so I always kind of tend to like to gain more muscle, because it takes me a longer time to gain muscle than some other people's body structures. So for that reason, I don't like to say, because then let's say somebody follows my macros who are trying to lose weight, then they're going to be gaining weight, or if they're a lot shorter than me, then they might be gaining a lot more weight than they want to, or it might just not be enough food for somebody who's his really, really fast metabolism and wants to gain a lot more. So following mine, they're just not going to help, so I tend to not share them. And also because during the year, I really follow my macros to a T, but over summer, I tend to not do it so much, just because I've become quite used to intuitively eating, because I followed my macros for probably 4 months or 3 months. So I'm really aware of what foods are in everything. And over summer, I don't have so much of a rigid structure, so I kind of like to relax a bit about things over summer, and then I get really into it during term time again. How do I get started? Okay, so this also comes under how do I work out my macros. My biggest recommendation for that is, I can't personally recommend an online calculator or website or anything, just because a lot of the time it can be incorrect, and they might not have options to change it according to your goal, or it's just not right. Like, you can't really trust the information. With my curve guide, I worked with a nutritionist and a personal trainer to create 3 calculators which will help you work out your specific goal. So whether your goal is, if I get up my curve guide, which by the way you can download onto your phone, so if you want to go to iBooks, this is my curve guide, and you can flick through it like that. This is all the nutritional information, and then you get into the training stuff. One thing which I do recommend is, a lot of people will say, oh, I want to lose fat and I want to lose weight, but I want to gain more muscle. What you've got there is 2 goals. And with weightlifting and macros and kind of general things in life, I honestly advise just stick to one goal, because you'll get there a lot better, and then you can like focus on the next one. You can simultaneously lose fat whilst building muscle, but it's a lot slower process, and the results won't be as long lasting and probably as good as you want them to be. So I recommend sticking to one goal. Once you've followed one goal, let's say your first goal is to lose weight, and you've lost enough weight and you're happy with the amount of weight you lost, and you're like, hey, I want to start building muscle now, then use my macro calculator in the curve guide to follow a calculator which will help you gain more muscle mass and keep your actual weight as well. I think as well, people find it a bit weird. Like, I've definitely been asked a few times, don't you get really obsessive, like if you have to weigh everything, which I totally understand. But no, I think if you're a certain kind of person, it might just fit your lifestyle better, because I love counting macros, especially when it's during term time at school, mainly because I love structure. So if I'm at school and I've got my timetable and I'm going to university and I've got to go to the library and I have to do a food shop on my own and that kind of thing, I really like being like, okay, I'm going to eat at this time as well. And it also is great because I can like organize a food shop, choosing areas where I'm going to save money on certain foods and buy in bulk with foods, because I know that I'll be eating that thing throughout the week, or I can have this in 2 weeks time, or it just kind of works for my lifestyle. So if you're you're working in a job 9 to 5, you're going to university, you're studying, you've got a big structure, like structural routine, then I really, really recommend it. It's also great because before I kind of like got fit, or like I was trying to get fit, I was just trying to like eat healthy, and like I didn't know what that meant. Like I was just kind of like, oh, if this is healthy because it's nuts, so I can eat the whole thing. Okay, it wasn't like to that extent, but like I would just go in the fridge and like eat like half a tub of peanut butter and be like, okay, well that was breakfast because I'm full now and it's all crushed from healthy stuff. I also love it because it complements my curve guide workouts completely, because if I go to the gym and I work out, I want to make sure that I'm like actually properly exercising and like I'm getting the right muscle gains in, because I follow my guide to gain muscle, and that's complemented by my macros. So after I go to the gym, I know that if I have a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of carbs, a certain amount of fat, that I'll be refueling my body the exact amount that it needs for me to see physical progress. Because otherwise, then I used to just go to the gym and then I would just not eat for like 2 hours, because I was like, I haven't gone to the gym, okay, that's good, so I've burnt like 700 calories, so now it's probably best if I don't eat anything, but then like maybe I'll have like a bowl of granola for dinner, which is full of sugar and full of carbs, and like, so I just wouldn't be getting any muscle gains basically. Another really positive thing about macros is that like it actually makes me appreciate food so much more, because I'll now opt for things which I wouldn't usually have gone for. For example, Greek yogurt. I never used to have Greek yogurt. Turns out it's like super high in protein, and it's fairly low in carb. And if you can get 0% Greek yogurt, which has no fat in it, and it's really good for you. Now I absolutely love Greek yogurt, and I love like creating my own meals and adding things to it which I didn't know I could before, and trying new things. It's just like kind of like an awesome way to educate yourself. Even if you don't want to count macros for the rest of your life, I seriously recommend doing it at least for a month or 2 weeks, just so you can understand what the hell is in food, basically. If, for example, you want a banana, you can't scan a banana because they don't have barcodes, so you have to add it in. Food, add food, let's say you're having, part of it is your lunch, type in banana. A whole bunch of 1,000,000 different weights for banana will come up, and calories. I mean, they're all about 110 calories. So you can see there are things saying one generic banana, which is 126 grams. What you might want to do, just so you know, rough guideline for like the rest of your life, if you just grab a banana, take off the peel, just measure it, see how much it weighs, not measure, that would be weird, weigh the banana. Let's say it comes to 126 grams, then you'll know, okay, so your average banana that looks like this is going to be 110 calories. So when you're out and about on a day-to-day, you can pick up a banana that looks like that, so you know how much you're getting. If it's slightly smaller, then what you can do, instead of saying you're having one banana, let's say you find a banana that's really small, it's half the size of what it looked like, of what that one looked like, go to 0 servings and then increase it to half. Click tick, and the macros for half a banana, which is 126 grams, will come up. I hope this video was really useful for you guys. I would love to know any other kind of videos that you want to see or anything like that. I'll be uploading more videos, so with Thailand and when I worked at Veggie Pret, they're coming too. If you want to work out the macros for your ideal body goal, then head to my website www.progresspure.co.uk and you can check out the strength guide workouts as well, in case that's something you're interested in. So you can start kind of like working on actual gains for your body whilst maximizing fat loss and maintaining your weight or whatever your goal is. So yeah, check it out. Thanks guys!